Hey there friends, Kevin here from the My Song of the Day Rock 2000 to Today YouTube channel. As you can see, the backdrop is different because this is our last video in this realm, but it's going to be a good one because I get to review the 9th album from this band. It's been around for about 20 years, but still very, very young, and this album was highly anticipated. So let's get into it. This is my review of What the Dead Men Say by Trivium. So before we go into What the Dead Men Say, let's take a look at The Sin in the Sentence, the 2017 release, which was released on October 20th, 2017. And this was Matt Heafy returning back to the clean and unclean vocal style after blowing out his voice and going with just clean vocals on 2015 Silence in the Snow. Taking a look at the critical reception, it was critically acclaimed because they went back to doing Matt Heafy with the clean and unclean vocals. Taking a look at some publications, Metal Hammer said this is the first to meld every previous release into the very best of Trivium and praised the band for that reasoning. Loudwire ended up saying that the songwriting and musicianship was just as strong as they've ever been, with The Sin in the Sentence delivering a quality listen from beginning to end, and Betrayer was even nominated for a Grammy. Personally, I think this was a great album, especially when you listen to the lead single, The Sin in the Sentence, The Heart That You From Your Hate, and then also Betrayer. Great album. When you take a look at what the Dead Men Say, what Matt Heafy has said about it, he called this album the perfect synopsis of everything that Trivium has done, so we can expect to see heaviness that we saw on some of the original works, and like a song like In Waves, and then from what The Sin in the Sentence was. Then we can also expect some softer, more cleaner stuff like they did on Silence in the Snow. But enough with the preview. Let's get on into it. So Captain Tennille, hit me! Going down. Get it on! Now it's time to go into the composition, construction, instrumentation of this album. And when the band said that this was going to be a synopsis of everything that they've done up to this point and really bring in a full Trivium experience, I actually listened to this album with that in mind, and I thought that they absolutely hit the nail on the head with that sort of a synopsis. So let's take a look at a couple of songs. Let's start out with the titular song on the album, What the Dead Men Say, because the intro gives us this shredding guitar that has this like Japanese feel to it a little bit, but that does work well with Matt Heafy's Japanese heritage. And then, you know, you get into it with another heavy sound, and it's rapid as well, with that rapid, heavy Trivium sound. And one thing the band does is introduce some more like minimal electronic sound in there, and they're not going like what Amity Affliction did, where it's more of a heavier electronic bass metalcore sound. They bring in a slight variation in here, which is absolutely done to perfection, and the verses keep up with that heavy sound, the fast pace, where the chorus does slow down with the instrumentation, but it's that perfect blend in between that fast paced style that Trivium is known for, and then kind of slowing up a bit to really bring forward a full-on experience with What the Dead Men Say song. Now let's go into The Defiant, and The Defiant is a fantastic song where in the verses they have this rapid hardcore pace that's really hardcore punk, but also makes that metal sound there, so it's really metalcore with a more hardcore punk sound, which really does bring forward into the song and really just open up the depth. Then as you get into the pre-chorus, it kind of slows it up a little bit and goes a bit more of that metal style, but then you get to the chorus, and the chorus brings in this hard rock kind of energy, which really ends up breaking up the song really well, and the transitions between each piece on that song are near flawless, to the point where you're getting a great metalcore sound, but you're really focusing on the hardcore punk in certain aspects and the metal in different aspects, and then bringing all the other with a hard rock finish. Take a look at a song like Scattering the Ashes, and this song starts out with a much lighter tone overall, and there isn't as much pace into it, but the guitars there ended up being tuned up on this one specifically. And then once we get into the verses, we still get, you know, that same pace instrumentation overall, and it really takes a more of a hard rock approach. And what I do like about it is they're hard on both the guitars and the drums, but they don't hit with the same pace and full ferocity to really give more of that Silence in the Snow kind of feel. The chorus does take us more with that hard rock sound that's also very consistent on many good hard rock tracks that I heard, something, you know, like 3 Days Grace or Shinedown would do, but it just creates more of a dynamic sound. Then we're going to go into a song like The Ones We Leave Behind, and when I compare hear this song, this is like their sin in the sentence moment on this album. It has the same construction, same flow, but it's a different sound to it. But it really does work well due to the fact that I absolutely love what they did on the sin in the sentence, the song itself, and the ones they leave behind. It really does work well. What I don't like about the ones they leave behind is it's just at the end when they outro it gradually and they just kind of fade it out. I wish they would just do a hard stop. But overall, when it comes to the instrumentation on What the Dead Men Say, holy crap, did they take everything they had ever done, put it in a full synopsis, and you really get a lot of different aspects of the band that's gone on with that Chord Trivium feel to it, which is just great. Absolutely love it. Now let's look at the vocal performance on What the Dead Men Say from Matt Heffy, and oh my lord. Matt Heffy's vocals do this thing where whatever the song is calling for, he doesn't try and force anything in there. If the song is going harder, he's going to bring a harder, rougher style. If it needs the unclean vocal screams, he's going to bring. If it needs something more melodic and cleaner, he's going to bring it as well. So he lets his vocals flow with the instrumentation so you don't get a big contrasting kind of thing going on, but just that consistency in the flow really does work well. And let's take a look at some of the examples. Take a look at a song like Bleed Into Me, and this has more of this clean look to it, this more clean feel to it, but the song is a little bit lighter. It doesn't go nearly as hard, and it really does need that clean feel to it overall. Then we get something that's a little bit more faster paced, like Catastrophis, I should say. Yeah, I almost messed that one up. And The Ones We Leave Behind, where you're getting that faster pace, that build-up style, that you really need some vocals similar to what, again, the Sin in the Sentence had, and they really did hit on those as well, where they're cleaner, but they're a little bit harder in the end, a little bit rougher. Then when they go super duper hard and you really need that unclean vocals to really bring forth that hardcore metal and hard metalcore style, they really do that on Bending the Arc of Fear and, of course, The Defiant. So when you really take a look at what Matt Heffy did on this album, his vocals just match up perfectly with what each song needs and with what each song calls for. So when it comes to the vocal performance, they just hit it out of the park with this one. They really hit that trope of the synopsis that Trivium is. They did it in the instrumentation, and they did it in the vocals. Now let's take a look at the themes of the songs on What the Dead Men Say and how they play off on the song styles. With Trivium doing an album that really consists of a synopsis of their music over the past 20 years, you can expect themes on these songs that are going to be taking place over what they've experienced over the past 20 years in life. So you're going to get a little bit of a difference here and there. So you're going to get songs that talk about holding on to the past and really not being able to let them go, and it affects you in the current right. In a song like the titular song, What the Dead Men Say. Then you get songs about how people and outside forces such as the government, such as the cultural elite, such as just any other factors on the outside that are trying to force you to live a life that they want you to live instead of the life you want to live, and fighting against it on songs like Amongst the Shadows and Stones, The Defiant, and Bending the Arc of Fear. And then you also have songs where you're taking a look back at yourself or back at the people that used to be in your life or the people that are in your life and reflecting and think about the people that used to be in your life that are now gone. On songs like Sickens Unto You, Scatter in the Ashes, and The Ones We Leave Behind. Now, taking a look at the song styles, again, this is something where it's a little bit odd, but it does work. And the reason why it does work is because Trivium's talking about what they've experienced over the past 20 years. So when they're talking about different aspects of what they experienced over the past 20 years, they're putting it into their song styles that they've done over the past 20 years. So when you're creating this synopsis album of your whole entire sound, and you're going to put themes that consist of the time frame, it really does work out. It just creates a great Trivium music. I'm not going to lie. This is great Trivium music. So, yeah. Overall, let me give you my rating for What the Dead Men Say by Trivium, and that is... I'm going to give What the Dead Men Say an 8.5 out of 10. So I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10. Let's take a look at what I like. And I absolutely love the dynamic instrumentation between each song. So each song does take a different part of Trivium's style over the past 20 years. And they really do understandably create that synopsis feel. You take a look at songs like Scare in the Ashes and Bleed Into Me. What those songs do are take that Silence in the Snow style where it's a little bit slower, not nearly as hard, but it takes that more melodic style to it. And it just gives a more feel to it that is, a little bit more drawn out. out. Then you get songs like Catastrophic and The One We Leave Behind, where those just have that sin in the sentence feel, where they're going to go rapid, hard, in that classic Trivium trope, but they're going to be able to be a little bit more of that hard rock sound and be a little bit easier to get into. Then you get songs like The Defiant and Sickens Unto You, where they play off with different softer sounds, but they really focus in on the harder sounds as well, and it just sounds fantastic. Like, this is Trivium at their best. Taking a look at some other things I like, Matt's vocals really do well here as well. And the reason being is because on every single song, he just flows so well with what the instrumentation calls for. So if he needs to go softer on something like Scattering the Ashes, he's going to go more with that hard rock clean style. If he needs to mix up, with the clean and unclean on stuff like The Ones We Leave Behind with that sin in the sentence feel, absolutely, he's going to do it. And then, when you're mixing everything together on a song like The Defiant, I really do like what they do here because it just works out so well. One thing I love about this album is the fact that the deep tracks, the ones that weren't the singles, were much better than the singles. And the singles were good, do not get me wrong. But with a song like The Defiant, which I think is the best song on the record, because it takes that hardcore punk sound of metalcore and really mixes it in with the Trivium sound, and they just play off of it so well. It is fantastic. Then you get Sickens Unto You, which is also a fantastic song with a rapid pacing to it and a hard sound. And then The Ones We Leave Behind, oh my God, like anything I wanted from the Sin in the Sentence to come out of this album, that song has it all, and I just cannot get enough of it. Like, this is fantastic. I love it. But you guys know me, I also do a dislike section. So what are the things I dislike about this album? The intro song 9 was just a minute and a half instrumental thing, and I do understand why they went with an instrumental opening to really kind of lead into What the Dead Men Say, the titular track. But what I didn't like about it was this album only had 10 songs in it, and one was going to be an instrumental. So only doing 9 songs fully really could have put them in a bad spot, and I don't think there was enough substance. However, that proved to be wrong because, my God, the other 9 songs were great. Then you take a look at Scattering the Ashes. One thing I didn't like about this song specifically was in the bridge they had this time where Matt Heffy was harmonizing with someone that's doing a higher pitched vocal. And I really did like it, but in the chorus there was someone harmonizing with Matt Heffy that did a screaming style vocal. And I wish it was stuck with that higher pitched vocal throughout it to really create much more of a melodic hard rock ballad that I was going to really be hoping that this song was going to become, which it was, but I thought that just could have made it better. And then The Ones We Leave Behind, which I absolutely love as a song, I just didn't like the fact that they outroed it and faded it off. And what I didn't like about that is just because all those other songs are great when you just end them like a quick cut, and I wanted to see them do a quick cut on that one, but they didn't. However, one thing you gotta remember is with these dislikes, I'm being real nitpicky on these because you'll see why. Now it's time for my final thought, and Trivium has been through a lot over the course of their 20 years, with the fact that a lot of fans love the style they went on their Shogun album to, In Waves! Then you also get the softer sound on an album like Silence in the Snow after Matt Heffy blew out his vocals. Then you get that return to form on the Sin in the Sentence. When they were talking about completely doing a full synopsis of all those sounds to really create this full-on Trivium experience on this album, of course, understandably, you're going to be a little worried because you're not necessarily sure what you're going to get. However, after listening to the singles, I thought, you know what? I'm really excited for this because they're showing that they can really do something. But the fact that the deeper cuts on this album would easily overtake the singles and just create this full-on Trivium experience to show that this band has so much they can do and they can experiment with a couple of different things but still keep this core Trivium sound. This might be their best album, and I don't think you can be mad about that because What the Dead Men Say? What do they say? This album frickin' rocks. Well, alright, that's it for me. Thank you for watching our review of What the Dead Men Say by Trivium here on the My Song Named Rock 2000 Today YouTube page. If you like the review, give me a like. If you dislike, give me a dislike. Put in the comments what you thought about the album. If you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified when we release videos every single Wednesday and our podcast videos every single Tuesday. So let's get those out of here. And please follow us on all our social media platforms like Facebook. So anytime anything gets released, you're going to find out there. Twitter. You can find out anytime anything gets released, but you're also be able to easily talk to us on Twitter. Instagram is our biggest platform because we post the 30-second song of the day feature. We post our IGTV videos, which is the IGTV video series, like a video vlog every single Tuesday to really give you behind the scenes look at what's going on here. And our Instagram live streams every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Central. So what we do there is you can come for an hour and you can get a face-to-face conversation with me and all of our fans. It's a great way to connect with a lot of people. And it's a great way to connect with everyone in the My Song community on all those three. Links in the description below to follow those. Get that out of here. We're going to talk about the Chord. Chord Progression Podcast. It is our very own podcast where we are interviewing the emerging bands in the scene right now. So the bands are coming out with these great first albums, these second albums, and the bands that you're going to want to know in the next 10 years, you can hear them first on the Chord Progression Podcast. So it's a great way to get in the know with these bands and really get in deep with them. You can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and right here on YouTube on this channel. Link description below, get that out of here. If you're not able to our Amazon Alexa skill, please go and do that right now because that's where you can hear the Song of the Day feature in its entirety. The Song of the Day feature is probably our most important feature because it allows the community to really get a hold of music and to discover new music, rediscover old music, to discover new bands from our Small Band Saturday feature, and connect with us and all the fans with the music they like and really get to talk about it. So that's what we do the Song of the Day feature for, and it will be the greatest Song of the Day feature you will ever see. And I want to thank you guys for watching this video. This is the last video in this room because the next one might be back in my parents' house where I started this all, or it might be my new place. You never know because I don't know. I'm doing the Boston Manor one next, I think. So I might do it on that day. I'm not entirely sure. But until next time, this is Kevin from the My Sunday Rock 2008 YouTube channel with my hat hair. Let's get the hat flip. Ow. See ya!